Hello, everybody. It is time for round 3 of the Classic Quarter Classic League Qualifier Tournament 2 2014. I'm sitting here with my lovely spouse, Becky. I don't know if she'll be joining us right now. No. Do you want to say hi to the people?
Hi, people.
There you go.
Is it the same people?
Some of them are the same people. Probably more than the normal crowd because it's on Mtgo Academy.
Then they don't know who I am.
Some may.
Yeah,
I like how you looked at me there. You're like, they don't know who I am.
Yeah.
As though you were resenting the fact they weren't aware of your celebrity.
No. That's what I mean. I just want a special shout out to Spelunky peeps.
Right.
What's up? I'm done with my exams, people.
So we are playing.
Spelunky.
Yeah. So we're playing against jsiri 84. His deck. Bye, Becky. His deck is a dark fish deck, I believe he calls it. It's actually got a lot of tools against us, and he can win. He's got 4 Abrupt Decays, which don't do much against us. They kill Revokers, so I probably won't bring in Revokers, even though otherwise Revokers would be good. He's got like a Deluge, some Tutors, Dismember. So he's got like some counter spells too, Enforce of Will, Mental Misstep, Spell Pierce, but fewer blue cards. It's going to be an interesting matchup, so I'll refer to this again as we go ahead. This hand is not the best. This hand has a Misstep, a Force of Will, and a Brainstorm with 1 island. So this is one of those hands where if in the top 3 cards there aren't 2 lands or a fetch land, I'll just lose. But I'm also on the draw. So like, here are some bad cards. These 2 and this. But if I do hit a fetch land in the top 3, and I have 9 of them. So the odds of that, let's see. If we've got 9 fetch lands, 53 cards in the deck, and we're drawing 3. So 1 out of 53, and then 1 out of 52, 1 out of 51. And then there's also the possibility, well, 4 out of 53. I'm going to go ahead and keep this hand, because I think we'll hit a fetch, and we're drawing another card. So we actually see 4 more cards. I'm not doing the math properly. If he counters the Brainstorm, I'll probably be able to misstep his misstep. So that's another point in favor, and we can pitch some of these. Really, we really want to see a fetch land here, but I think the odds are in our favor. May the odds be ever in your favor. All right, so now we can Brainstorm next turn, which gives us some extra juice. I probably want to end up keeping one of these blue guys in my hand to pitch to Force. Probably the Invoker. I don't think Invoker is super strong in this matchup. Wormcoil can die to a Trigon Predator. Now here's a question. Do I want to crack his Brainstorm? He's doing it end of turn, which isn't the strongest time to Brainstorm. I'm going to let it resolve. That also sends the signal that I don't have a misstep, I think, because I think everybody's reflex is just to misstep whenever they can. And so he's got to hit a fetch for that to be really worthwhile. And if he... So he only really... Because he has to deposit 2 cards back, then he draws 1 of them. He only gets like 1 card benefit. So I'd rather keep the misstep. Oh, that sucks. That's really brutal. So we're going to float. Worse things have happened here, but that kind of sucks. So now we Brainstorm. Holy shit! That's terrible. All right, so we don't ever want to see this card, and we probably don't ever want to see this. This game is going to be a challenge, but at least he's not going to be doing anything this turn. So now we draw a Wormcoil. My God. Remember to crack this, because we don't want to draw an Emrakul next turn. Jeez. Okay, so we're going to be removing another land from the deck when we use this. That's unfortunate. Don't have a Spell Snare, which would be great right now, because he's casting an Ooze. Do I care about that? I don't think I do. I think we can last a few more turns. So let's roll with this. How many lands does he have? 3. So I want to just find basics. That's fine. So this game's not looking good based on that strip. Normally, basics protect you from LD, but in this case, no dice. So, that's not very good. Here's what we're going to do. We're just going to pass, and we're going to discard a Wormcoil. Why Wormcoil? Because it's an artifact, and we can't pitch it to Force, and we have 3 forces. So, like, our hand isn't super bad for the situation we're in. And I'm glad we found a, that guy's getting countered. See you later, Ingester. We won't have to worry about discarding for a while. So he's forcing that. I actually feel pretty good about that, because my hand is just worse than his hand right now. So I'll let that resolve, and then we're going to pitch another card here. I think that... Which of these cards is going to be better? Consecrated Sphinx or Frost Titan? So, Frost Titan taps down a land, which isn't very strong right now. Can deal with a dude with Jitte on it, I guess. Maybe Frost Titan is better than the Consecrated Sphinx. I don't know if that's true. So, now he can make this guy bigger and increase his clock. But I'm kind of glad I didn't counter that still. So let's see. Thank the Lord. I'm going to let him have the decision of whether he wants to wasteland that or not. I need to make him use his wasteland on mine. If he's going to, because, you know, I then can wasteland his Trop in response. But this, drawing a wasteland here was kind of bad. Not very good. Especially because, like, a lot of the cards in our deck, he can't spell pierce this. This I'm going to counter, because he's got 2 cards in his hand. I think that's probably a strong play here. Alright, one of them was a land. That's good. That would have given him like a fresh extra card. So I'm presuming that the extra card in his hand is not excellent. But it's going to be doing something right now, which is interesting. Really? Dark Confidant. Now here's the thing. I do not think I can afford to not counter that. Because he would just waste us in card advantage. Now the problem is this is going to get real big now, because he's got an Edric and now a Dark Confidant in there. So he'll hit for 2. Next turn he'll be hitting for 4. But we're both playing off the top of our decks. He's just in a much stronger position with a creature on board and a bunch of lands. We are not in such a strong position because we blew all of our bad cards. Oh. Okay. So, what's happening here, I should have actually killed a Trop Island there, because it would have given me an extra turn. Wow, that's a really stellar crack for him. Off the top. This is one of the worst cards we could have seen off the top. What can we draw at this point? We need to draw like a land and then a Gilded Drake, I guess, or a True Name Nemesis and a land. It's going to be hard to draw both those this turn. And so he sees a dude. That's real bad. Yeah. This is going to be a little hard. Spell Snare. Not what we wanted to see. Another reactive card. I should have probably killed the Trop Island there. Had I killed the Trop Island earlier, he also would... No, he would have still been able to play the Dragon Predator. He just wouldn't have been able to do it the same turn as the Brainstorm. Yeah, things are looking pretty bleak here. I'm not sure if I even have a single way out. I could draw a Revoker. Dragon Predator is going to kill it. I think we're dead here. Gilded Drake is somewhat interesting. But I don't think it's going to be very good. Yeah. The Spell Snare is not going to do any work for the rest of the game, even though Spell Snare is good against him. We sort of drew all of our cards in the wrong order, and even though I hit the fetch land, having him strip mine me, not great. Yeah, so that's going to happen. We're going to kill this. He can keep his island up. That's okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to do it. All right. So that's game 1. Disappointing, but it played out in a way that my deck can play out games, i.e. horribly. So now here's the question. Does he board out his Abrupt Decays? I think he probably does. He's got Nature's Claims on the board he could bring in. I don't know if he would. Grafdigger's Cages he could bring in. So what I think he's going to do is board out Abrupt Decays and bring in Grafdigger's Cages for my combo. And what I'm going to do is, bring in Diabolic. What I'm going to do in anticipation of this, I'm not sure if this is right, is cut all the cards that are going to be terrible. Not sure about these. These could be terrible too. And bring in another True Name, which is going to be good in this matchup. Gilded Drake is not excellent, though I could consider bringing it back in. And bring in the Revokers, another Spell Snare. I actually think Cataract Leviathan is better than some of these cards, though it isn't excellent. It can also be pitched to Force. To think about these things, Kataki doesn't do very much against him. The question is, does Surgical Extraction help? I don't really think it does. I can eliminate some of his dudes, but it doesn't seem very strong. I don't like the idea of losing card advantage. Plus, he could even use Deathrite or something to remove it. So I'm cutting these guys. I think maybe boarding something up here out is probably the right idea. This 8-drop seems really bad to me. So, if I don't have the rip shapes in the deck, that increases the curve quite a bit. So I think 7-drops are just better than even higher casting cost things, no matter how sad that is. Yeah, so let's roll with this. So we boarded out the rip shape plan. Not convinced of that. Note that Yixla Jailers are here, but the way that Snapcaster works, it can give his cards flashback, and the way that I understand it working is that even though they have no rules, he can still cast them and then do what they need to do. We're going to play first. Whoa. Not sure how I feel about this hand. Pretty sure how I feel about this hand. I think it's bad. But I'm going to keep it, and I'll tell you why. Because his land count is reasonably low, and I can counter either a Brainstorm or a Deathrite right off the get-go, and maybe kill a land if then he gets slowed. So I'm not going to mull this. I will also lead off with a snow-covered island. In case he's holding the strip, he might just use it, which would be good for me. But he's not. So if this is a Deathrite, that's going to be good. I am going to try and counter this. And I actually hope that this resolves. Good. And now I'm going to waste his land. That's basically like buying me a turn. Oh man, that sucks. So now we do this, and we hope that we've screwed him for long enough that he's not going to immediately be back in the game. This does turn on his next Deathrite, though, in terms of mana ramp. But I was going to do that anyway, because I have so many Misty Rainforests and other fetch lands in my hand. So, okay, too bad that he has a fetch. But I think we made the right decision so far. He finds a basic, which is good. Yes! All right. So that's essentially a dead card, because we boarded out of that. Oh. Sorry, I just made a funny noise. Still dealing with a pneumonia. That wasteland, whatever, I don't care. I almost just want to crack the fetch and find something he can waste to get him to do it. Because I feel like him blowing that wasteland might be good for us. Is that crazy of me? No, it would be too obvious that that's what I'm attempting to do, right? Yeah, and later on down the line, I might need to hit like a 4th land and, yeah, and so forth. But what I will do here, this is interesting. He could have Spell Pierce, so I want to make sure that this resolves. We are going to cast the Soul Ring. And now we try to make Jace happen. Into Spell Pierce? I don't know if we would do it into Spell Pierce. I'm not sure about that. What am I looking at? Because Spell Pierce could definitely counter Jace, and he's got 2 of these. He's only got 2. But for sure, does he have another on the board? No. He brought in Grafdigger's Cage Abrupt Decays, which means our Soul Ring is probably going to stay around. So like the question is, do I run this into Spell Pierce? Because he actively found a basic island. I think that screams Spell Pierce. So what I'm actually going to do here, this might sound absolutely fucking insane. I'm going to find a Tundra, and I'm going to pass the turn, presuming he has a Spell Pierce, try to lure him into killing that Tundra to reduce his land count, to make it more likely that he taps out so that I can play a Jace over Spell Pierce. Because note that he didn't cast a Brainstorm. I don't think he's holding one. There's another cage. That's okay. Now we're going to be in a situation where you can Spell Pierce. Oh, God. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we can play our Jace through a Spell Pierce. So we're going to try and do that. You could just force it. But if I force him to use 2 cards, which I did, then that's not the end of the world. Okay. So now the question is, do I Brainstorm now, or do I do it next turn? I think I do it next turn. So we pass. We don't want to see that Platinum Angel. Actually, do we? We can cast a Platinum Angel. If he doesn't kill our Tundra. And he's probably started to figure out... It's funny that the Grafdigger's Cage actually turns off the Snapcaster, which makes it much worse. So I guess that's why he pitched that. But getting ready to body is fine. Especially because that's the sort of thing that could kill a Jace. If I played some way. Played in a particular way to bounce something, and then he flashed it in. Okay, there's a strip. Okay, so that means no Plat Angel this turn. That's okay. The sort of play just happened that we wanted to happen. We got him to spend his Wasteland, which I feel better about than hopefully he does. We see another land, which we don't necessarily want, so I cast Brainstorm now. Now, depending on what I see, I may want to keep this Plat Angel in my hand. But right now it looks like he's considering using a Force of Will. Decided not to, and we see a bunch of cards that we like. So Mana Drain into Plat Angel, how strong is that? I don't know if he brought in Nature's Claims. Platinum Angel, like, isn't the best card against him. I don't think. He can, like, dismember it. You can get, if he can force Trigon through, he can do that. So I think I want to keep this up here, which means I don't really want to crack anything. So this is how I'm going to do this. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want to have Mana Drain available. If I played a land this turn, no. So we want a Mana Drain and a Spell Snare available, which means I am going to put, I think, the Tarn here, because I think I'm going to be able to Mana Drain into something, and put the Force here. So we're going to draw the Force. Does that sound right? And if he strips, like, he's not going to be able to do anything. So we don't want to crack this if we don't have to, because there's a Force on top. And if he strip mines this, I feel okay with that. But it's not going to happen. So right now we draw our Force of Will. And then there's another fetch land under that. So we can't play the Platinum Angel this turn because of the way I order these cards, because I expected to be able to Mana Drain something, but I think that's inevitably going to be what happens anyway. But I feel pretty strong about what's going on right now. His mana situation is bad, and we have a threat. Alright, so do we want to see this land? I think we do now. And we just cast it. We fetch away, and we get ready to force. I'm going to do it main phase B. But here we go. Let's make 7 drop, I guess. So we're using a lot of our fetch lands, just something to keep in mind. And if he has force, that's okay. I can counter that force. Dismember, I think, is more likely. I think he probably brought in a second one if he has, and I believe he does. Yeah. Diabolic Addict, but he can't cast that right now. He must be thinking about pitching an important card to a Force of Will. Or maybe brainstorming to look for something? Because if he has a Dismember, he can Dismember and then force my Force when I try to protect my Platinum Angel. But then if he draws a card, that's a number of cards gone. He's down to 3 cards in his hand, and I sit with like a Mana Drain, which isn't the end of the world. I mean, this isn't the fastest clock. Okay, and he does find a land. This brings him down. If he has to use another fetch land, though, that takes him to 16, which is an important number. Depending on what he casts here, too. If he casts a Trigon, I can't really attack. Dark Confidant, I really wish I could Spell Snare that. So I'm strongly considering... You know what? That's going to increase his clock. I'm going to let that... That's going to increase our clock. It gives us one more turn. So I let that hit. I'm not sure if that's right. But the number of counter spells I have give me some degree of confidence. And being able to kill his Bayou here seems pretty strong. So let's get in there. This is an interesting game, actually. I think. Anyway. Let's think about this. 5, 6, 7, 8. If I have all these out, I can cast all 3 of these cards in one turn, but I think it's more important to kill his Bayou. And I can wait to see what he draws, but I think this is just better. Okay. So let's see. Lose some life. Damn! Okay, well, no, if he has to use that, he goes to 12. And what we're worried about is like a Dismember plus... some other amount of damage. Okay, that's fine. We'll go to 14. The Dismember plus, like, Force of Will. I think the way that I stacked my cards, I could have tried to cast the Platinum Angel a turn early. Maybe I would have been able to hold Spell Snare up to deal with the Dark Confidant, and then I would be in an absolutely secure position. The way it stands, I'm not quite in that boat. But I have a strong hand, all things considered, even though he's getting a little bit of advantage. Keep in mind that these cages did nothing for him. I'm not sure what his decision is going to be next game, assuming I win, which is not the only option still. If he uses a strip, I feel pretty good about that. We don't have anything really to use with a Mana Drain right now since the Plat is already spent. Okay, so he goes to 12. That's 3 attacks. That's 6 more cards that he gets to see, which is quite a lot. So that could be like Dismember plus 2 counter spells. It could be any number of other things. Is he looking to cast another one, I wonder? No, it's 3-drop. What is this? Toxic Deluge for 4. I'll tell you what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and Mana Drain that. And I suspect Force, putting him at 7. Okay. And now this, I'm going to just hard cast the Force on his Force. And I think that's going to secure the game. Because now I get 3 mana, so if I draw something insane, I can just probably cast it and keep the Spell Snare up. This puts him at dead if he has like a Trigon on top of his deck. I don't think he could possibly spend the last 2 cards in his hand on forcing, could he? I guess he'd feel pretty silly if it was like Spell Pierce and a... Oh, he has another Force. Interesting. So he just forced the Mana Drain, which I think is the smart play. He kills everything. And so that was a desperation move still, because... Wow, that sucks. So now he's playing off the top of his deck. Please be a 2... Oh, yes. That would have been... That's like the best card for him to have drawn off the top of his deck, too. So he's probably thinking about whether to use that strip mine. I guess he could counter a Phyrexian Ingester, or kill a Phyrexian Ingester if I ripped it off the top. But the Platinum Angel's the only other 7-drop. So he's thinking, like, what is in my deck? That's what he's wondering right now. I like trying to predict what my opponent's brains are doing. That's funny. Yeah, we're going to cast this. And then I'm going to come over here and make sure I know what I want to name. I think it's going to be Deathrite. Or Scavenging Ooze, but Scavenging Ooze I can counter. So I'm going to name Deathrite. That's okay. I'm going to float and act like I have something to do there. But I don't. So we're going to name Deathrite Shaman. Yeah, that's okay. And he can't even make Scavenging Ooze right now. Man, that's a nice rip for him. He only gets one card out of this, though. So ideally he finds a fetch land or just something that's immediately relevant. Probably a regular land drawing into something good, like a Trigon, would be the way to go for him. Okay, so that's irritating because it can block my dude. Wasteland is so good right now. So, like, the question is, what do I do right here? Is that Deathrite that doesn't do anything more valuable? If he can Abrupt Decay this, then his Deathrite turns on, and that's bad. But I don't know if he kept his Abrupt Decays in. So I'm attacking. Okay. That's okay with me, because that turns on his other Deathrites, but he's going to be awfully sad about that, because right now his Underground Sea's dead. Okay. So now, hopefully his Brainstorm is Really? I mean, these aren't bad. He has a lot of 2-drops in his deck, but I don't know. I just wanted something a little better. Now he's got cards in his hand that I don't... Oh, God, that's so insane. We're just doing it right now. Yeah, so I guess I really have no interest in venturing either of those Grafdigger's cages. They actually make his Brainstorm slightly better. But I will pass the turn. Yeah. I'll play this, and then I'll bounce. Okay, so he decided that was it. We will go to game 3. That was kind of interesting. So the question is he going to be boarding out his... Like, I don't know what game he's playing now, because he could board out those Grafdigger's cages. I don't know if he's going to. This is the one that's hard for me to figure out. And this could really matter. This could be the difference. Because if he boards them out again into his sideboard and goes back to the original configuration and brings in Abrupt Decays, then my Revokers become terrible. But the power of having an Emrakul really kind of matters. It's funny because Cataract Leviathan would have been an okay draw at some point there. Like I could do some combination of cards. I kind of like the way it's set up. So I'm gonna go like this, but I don't really feel all that great about it. I mean, I'm gonna keep doing this to make him think that I'm changing my mind a lot, but I'm keeping the deck as is. I think he has to know that I cut the Riptides that last game, because I went through so many cards without playing them. But I don't want to just run it into an... I don't know. Phyrexian Revoker is like so good in general against him. What the hell? What kind of shitty hand is this? He keeps. So, if we draw a fetch land, again, it's like, so what are the odds of drawing a fetch land? We thought they were pretty good before. Like, if he leads with a Deathrite Shaman, what does that mean for me? I think it means I just lose. This hand has, like, the other hand that I kept that ended up not working, at least had Force of Wills in it. This is just garbage. Pretty sure this was like the hand we had last game, but I still feel like it's a little better. Okay, so he didn't do anything, so that means I want to play this just in case he's got a strip mine. I actually feel like the mine games I played last game worked really well in my favor, so I'm pretty pleased about how that went. Also, I'm worried a little bit that there's some bullcrap going on with my audio desync. My audio sync, like last time it really sucked. I'm not sure why it did that. It's disappointing. So what's this going to be? Brainstorm? Does he have a fetch? So he draws a card, draws 3, puts back 2, draws 1 of them. He only gains extra 1 card, and that's only if he has a fetch. So I'm going to let this happen. Because it seems to me that it doesn't mean he's mana screwed, because the optimal play would be to do this during his turn. If he had a fetch, or alternatively, if he didn't have 2 things to do. I mean, maybe it's just that he wants to play a 2-drop on his turn, in which case it would have been better for me to misstep that. I guess, so maybe I should have thought about that, because his deck's loaded with 2-drops, so if he plays a Dark Confidant this turn, it could mean that mental misstepping the Brainstorm would have been the right play. As it stands, it's hard for me to tell. There is the Dark Confidant, which is trouble for me, admittedly. And now I'm in a position where wastelanding his land is significantly worse, and that was the worst draw imaginable. So this is going to be looking bleak. I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to play this wasteland, and I'll explain why. Because if I get information from this Dark Confidant during his upkeep, I might want to kill one of his lands. That's not the sort of information I wanted to see. So this game is going very badly. This is going to be probably the game that kicks us out of this tournament. I would really love to have seen a Graph Digger's Cage right there. That would have been awesome. And he doesn't have to be afraid of mana drain, but he doesn't know how bad my hand is, essentially. So this gives me an opportunity to kill one of his lands, but then I go back down to 0. I don't think that's tolerable. Yeah. So he kills Island. I have to take it. I should have floated 1. But wouldn't have been able to do anything about that anyway. So that increases his clock, and it's a big problem. We would have loved to have seen that last turn. 2 more turns before being able to land Jace is a lot of cards for him. It means we're probably going to get our Jace countered. So that's unfortunate. Drawing this Brainstorm doesn't really do much except make his Dark Confidant hurt him a little bit less. We really need to see like a True Name Nemesis in our turn that resolves, essentially. We have 2 in, so it's possible. Edric, that's... oh, God. Okay, I'm pretty sure this just lost me the game, because now he's going to be drawing, like, 500 cards per turn. Yeah. So, at this point, we're playing to hope that he just hasn't seen a Force of Will on the top X cards. Oh, we drew another land. Okay, so... what did I do wrong? Not counter his Brainstorm? I'm not sure that that would have mattered. So he's going to go up to 12 cards. Yeah, that's not really good. Yeah. Not really sure how I feel about that, except bad. I feel bad about it. Classically, start playing taps. Maybe I should have kept that 7 land, or that 6 land Brainstorm hand. I don't think so. But I don't think it's going to be possible to win this one now. I guess what he might be afraid of is that I can mana drain something. I will counter that, because if he counters my counter spell, I think that's really good for me. Now we have to, like, keep bouncing his... Okay. Yeah, nothing I can really do about that. Well, here's the thing. We can't really afford to draw land this turn, so let's crack this. Which puts us at dead on board. Now he has to discard 2 cards, which like doesn't matter at all, unless he can find creature cards in his hand to discard. Just definitely kill me. And neither of those is a dude. Well, that was a day late, $1 short. Okay, so I don't know how good Revoker is here. Pretty sure it's not. I think it's countered. Like Jace, I feel like Brainstorming doesn't do very much. It kills me. So, we're gonna cast this guy. And I guess this allows us to live another turn if it resolves, but I don't think you should let this resolve. Okay. So the question is, after this, I should start thinking ahead. Should I be staying in Classic League this tournament? I think it's 5 rounds. Going 3 and 2 is probably not very good odds. But I kind of just like playing. Okay, so I guess he'll let this resolve, maybe. Doesn't matter that much. We have to name Scavenging Ooze, I think. So let's do that. His Death Right's going to be kind of a problem real soon. So we're going to have to bounce the Death Right. I'm playing presuming that there's some way to win, but I don't really think there is. Maybe he boarded in Blightsteel and he's going to draw 2 of those. What's probably more likely is he just dismembers this. Right now. Oh, Nature's Claim. I actually think that gives me another turn. So, okay. I mean, he draws like 50 more cards. Maybe he boarded in 2 Blightsteels. No, he kept this in, so I guess our play was right, even though our deck is just poor. I don't know. Do I want to play another round? I don't want to just get buys at this point. And yeah, so he'll maybe be able to kill me this turn. Let's see. He's going to have a Death Right in the yard. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, we get to live another turn. That's kind of exciting. We know that this is in his hand, which isn't very good. Yeah, we didn't see that many relevant cards this game. We saw, I guess, 4? 4 non-lands? That's not very strong. So be it. Alright, so now he gets to draw a lot of cards. I'm not sure if there's... What can I do for 5 mana? Like, playing a True Name Nemesis. I'm pretty sure this is over. I almost just relish the idea of him getting to use Edric in Classic and having that be good. I'm not trying to troll him by playing still. Yeah, that's gonna be, GG's, dude. We're not gonna let him do that. Alright. So we're cleaning this one up. And I haven't yet decided if I'm going to play another round. I don't think I will, but I won't drop just yet. So I will see you guys for next Classic League or next DE or whatever I play next. Thanks for watching Playing the Unplayable on Mtgo Academy.